So Jermall Charlo is letting it be known that he wants the Canelo and the Andrade fights after his upcoming fight. If not, he might move up in weight. Let's get straight to it. Jermall Charlo had an interview on Fight Hub discussing his upcoming fight and also talking about his frustration for not getting the big fights such as the Golovkin fights, because Golovkin obviously ducked him, and he stated that he been the mandatory for Canelo belt for almost 2 years and he still ain't get a title shot yet. And to make matter worse, he's not even getting paid step aside money. And Canelo's talking about fighting everybody except the Charlo. So we obviously know Canelo never wanted smoke with Charlo ever since he was fighting at 154. He didn't want no part of the Charlo brothers. And even at 160, he don't want no part of Jermall Charlo. And they doing everything they can to avoid that fight. And of course, the Canelo fans going to say, who the hell Charlo fight? Canelo ain't avoiding no Charlo. But if Charlo doesn't deserve the shot, even though he's the #1 mandatory for 2 years now, what did Rocky Fielding do to deserve that shot? Keep in mind, Canelo moved up in weight to get that title shot. So what did he do or earn? Nobody knew the guy. So if Charlo is way more popular, and if Canelo does fight Charlo, it will be a way bigger fight. Why not fight Charlo then? Because Canelo stayed calling a grandpa Floyd Mayweather to a rematch because he lost the first fight by a landslide. So why not fight the closest fighter to Floyd Mayweather in your own division? Not saying Charlo is a Floyd Mayweather, but I'm just saying, you out here calling out somebody who's old enough to be my grandpa, but you want to fight a guy in your own division that will get you that type of recognition. Because even though Daniel Jacob was a good win, but Charlo ain't no Daniel Jacob. And if he is, or if his Canelo is better, then prove it. You got to prove it in the ring, especially if you're saying you the pound for pound #1. Talk is cheap. We got to see action. And how can Charlo get these big names and these big fights if fighters are ducking him? If we talk about Charlo's resume, Charlo was the guy who stopped J. Rock Williams in his prime. He defended that title even though he had a struggle to make the weight. He stayed to make that fight happen because that's the fight the fans wanted. And he knocked down and then knocked out J. Rock Williams with an impressive counter uppercut that you rarely see. And then J. Rock Williams is now the unified champion at 154 after Jermall Charlo knocked him out. So that's an impressive win. And he got impressive wins on his resume. But like I said, he can't get these other big fights because he don't have the luxury that Canelo has. So if fighters keep on ducking him, he got no choice but to stay active. Now, on top of that, he also called out Andrade. But Andrade, on the other hand, been calling him out as well, saying, hey, I want the Charlo fight. He keep running his mouth. I'ma humble those guys. So that fight is also a possibility. However, Charlo is Canelo mandatory, not Andrade. But if Canelo ain't willing to step up to the plate, then Charlo already stated that he willing to fight Andrade. Now, if we go back in time, it was Andrade that turned down an official fight contract to fight Jermall Charlo at 154 at the time. For whatever reason, he felt like he was getting lowballed, which I don't think that was the case. He just felt like it wasn't the right timing, and he had problems with his promoter at the time. And he also didn't want to go fight on Showtime for some reason. However, like I said, the ball is in Charlo court. He already offered you, or his brother, obviously, they already offered you a contract and you turned it down. Now, Andrade got to return the favor. If we being objective here, like I said, I'm a big fan of Andrade ducking who, even though it was his little brother. But obviously, his little brother fights at 154. And Andrade already stated, I would rather fight Jermall Charlo first, then Jermall Charlo. But we all know Jermall fights at 154 right now. So Andrade need to focus on Jermall, who fights at 160. And we could go from there instead of wasting his time calling out Errol Spence, because Errol Spence fights at 147. And I know Andrade is saying, hey, he fought somebody 2 weight division below him. Why he don't do the same thing and fight me? But keep in mind, it was Mikey Garcia who was calling out Errol Spence heavy. Errol Spence didn't even pay him no mind till he kept pushing for it. So he was like, let me see if this was real. He even was finna fight Porter before he fought Mikey, and that negotiation failed. But then when Porter turned away and decided to fight Ugas, Errol Spence was like, you know what? Forget it. I'll fight Mikey Garcia since that's my last option. So it was Mikey who was calling out Errol Spence. You don't see Errol Spence calling out Andrade and Andrade responding. Like I said, that's why people saying Andrade keep reaching. So Andrade need to focus on his own division for the moment and try to see if he could get the Canelo and the Charlo fights, because even though Canelo fight on the zone, it's going to be hard for Andrade to get that fight too. Canelo don't want no damn smoke with no damn Andrade. That's why he's talking about fighting Triple G for the third time when we don't want to see that fight. Who want to see Triple G versus Canelo for the third time? We tired of seeing that fight. Triple G ducking and fighting tomato cans right now. Canelo is on a good schedule so far. However, if he fight Andrade and then Charlo, or either way, it will definitely submit his legacy and quite the critics if he takes on those fights. However, the zone already stated that Canelo versus Triple G is more likely next for Canelo. Meanwhile, like I said, Andrade, it's easier for him to fight somebody on a different network, which is Charlo, than fighting somebody on his own network, which is Canelo. So why not make that fight happen? Then Canelo will be very pressured to fight the winner of that fight, because a lot of people going to be demanding to see that fight, to see who's the best at 160. Because me personally, I feel like it's either Charlo or Andrade. Meanwhile, a lot of people feel like it's Canelo. So we will never know till they step in the ring, because boxing is the theory of the unexpected. But one thing for sure, it's Canelo who's ducking Charlo. And it was Andrade who turned down a fight with Jermall Charlo at 154. So I know Charlo get a lot of hate because of their personality, etc., etc. But facts are facts, that they are avoided and they want to fight everyone and everybody at the moment. So hopefully them fights get made. And like I always say, subscribe below if y'all trying to get smart about a minute. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't listen to these casual ass fans. Now, one thing I got to say, me personally, I'll listen to your opinion, but I could care less about it. If you're not coming at me with facts and backing what your opinion with facts like I just did, because everything I just stated is facts, then don't even come at me, because you obviously already lost the argument. You know, you just attached to a fighter you love. I'm putting my feelings aside and just stating it how it is. And like I always say, peace, and we outie.